5.
All right. We're back for another segment of Iconic Konvo with
Diamond and, of course,
Dejan Talks. You know we in the building. So listen, it's Gemini season in the building.
Oh,
you're a Gemini too?
Yeah.
Okay. It's about to be
somebody
lit.
just had a birthday.
You know, it's Gemini season. You know, the best season in the building. And they don't get no sexier than Geminis. Don't be a hater all your life.
Yeah, and happy early birthday to Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay. And fellas, Gemini in the building. But today's a special day.
Oh, it sure is.
Why is it special, Michelle?
I don't know. I mean, I can't put my finger on it.
Well, you need to put your finger on it because we got two special reasons why it's a special show today. So today, for all of our viewers that's been supporting us for the past year,
Yes, a whole year.
today is our 1 year anniversary. Okay, y'all here. Clap up for the boy. Clap up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I gotta say, hey, 1 year. Some people can't even keep a job for 2 weeks. We've been doing this for a year.
You know what?
That's a blessing.
Yes,
And
it
we're in the
is.
hottest station of all time, Power 108.9 in the building.
Absolutely.
Okay. You heard it.
Yes.
So listen, to all of our viewers, we want to give a special thank you.
Thank you very much for your continuous support.
Yep.
The unconditional love that we have received, it's just filled with so much, and the abundance is continuously flowing in. So much gratitude to everyone.
Most definitely. Thank you. We're humbly blessed for everybody that supports us on YouTube, Power 108.9, for seeing the value in us and allowing us a platform. For everybody that supports Iconic Konvo and Dejan Talks and Diamond. We just want to humbly thank you guys for supporting us throughout the past year. And we look forward to continuing to bring you guys great content.
Absolutely.
Month after month, every first and third Monday. You know where to catch us at 8 to 9 p.m. But tonight, it's not just about celebrating our 1 year anniversary.
No.
We got a special guest in the building.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? My light-skinned brother in the building.
Of course.
Okay.
our fellow
I'm
brother.
going to take him to the beach, though. I got to take him to the beach, you know.
Oh,
He's my brother, but I still got to take him to the beach. You know, I got to take him to the beach, you know. But it's okay because, you know, we ain't no beaches around here. We got to go all the way to Savannah to get a beach. That's crazy.
Let's go to the golf course.
Yeah.
Nah, you know I'm from Florida. You ain't got to tell me twice. But we have a special guest in the building, but I don't want to do him any injustice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would behoove us to allow him to do the introduction because who knows him better than himself?
I concur.
You concur? So everybody, please put your hands together for our special guest.
Or brother,
Our brother from another mother.
That's right.
Mr. Garrett Ford.
Okay, Mr. Hey.
How you doing, everybody?
We're doing good, young man. We're doing good. Well, thank you for joining us this evening on Iconic Konvo. How you feeling this evening?
I'm doing good, and I enjoyed being with y'all. I look forward to the interview, and y'all are both cool, and love hanging out, and yeah, just see what we can do and talk about all kinds of stuff I got going on. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're a pretty busy young man, aren't you?
yeah, a little bit, but I'll figure out how to, figure out my time and, can do all kinds of
time
different things.
management.
Kind of do my time management with the entertainment field. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, a lot of our viewers may not have heard of you. They didn't know I had a light-skinned brother because every time I talk about my 7 sisters. I never talk about my
I
long-lost
don't
brother.
know about you, but
That's
they know about.
Oh, they know about your brother.
Yeah, they know about my light skinned
Not-
brother.
not me.
Because he represented
Okay.
last year.
Oh, yeah,
at
at Cobb
the Welcome
County.
to South Cobb
Yeah, he
Festival
did.
when he hosted. So you better give him his.
I don't know. It was between him and Genuine. I ain't know who to pick. I don't know.
Well, hey,
Him and Genuine was going back and forth at it.
well,
I ain't know who to
that's-
pick.
That's true.
That's true now.
You
They were going at it.
He did his thing.
He-
He warmed up the stage and welcomed Genuine, and he had a surprise visit from Tank. So that was a good thing.
Tank had his hands full too
And our
now.
other brother popped in on him, James Worthy.
Yeah, we had a lot of people.
And
Alexis Bria.
yeah.
We had a full cast.
Yeah, and we also had young lady from what was it? 60 days in?
I don't know. I don't speak that English.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know Mr. Garrett. That's the English I
You're
speak.
so
I don't know. So, young man, for everybody that don't know you, go ahead and take your time and give us a quick introduction of who you are And who are we speaking to right now?
Yeah, I'm actually an actor. I've got to stop saying actually. That's my problem. But actor,
Okay.
voiceover. I have a business, an audio video business where I teach voiceover. Also, I'm a singer songwriter, country music artist, and I just joined a band called Cherokee Thunder. It's a southern rock country band. Going to be doing some rock, some originals, and some covers.
Wow.
Probably gigging around South Metro, but maybe into the Atlanta area. Probably late summer this fall.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a lead singer for them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, kudos.
So-
That's a pretty impressive resume to me.
Absolutely.
So you say you let me just give a quick recap. Actor, country artist, voiceover, business owner. Just make sure I cover everything.
Yep.
And now recently band owner. Band participant, band
Yeah.
group member.
Yeah, songwriter.
Singer.
You know,
Singer,
lead
songwriter.
singer. Now I feel like I'm singing
And-
NSYNC, Boys to Men, and Boys Back in the
And
Day.
I'm a brand ambassador too for 3 products.
Yeah.
Look at that! Look at that! He must be a beard brand ambassador
Yep.
because I ain't
Yes,
got
it
the
is.
beard for it. I knew it. I
It
knew I got
is.
too many patches. They won't give me the job.
Oh my goodness.
So he's taking all the jobs
That's
over
why
here.
you need to, you know,
No, man.
speak
He
to
said-
Garrett and find out what. His
Yeah, I need
secret is.
to fill in my beard.
I can teach you
bro.
that
Teach me how to
off,
fill in
off
the
air.
beard.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
TMI.
okay.
It's TMI.
So along this path that you've been on, you have a lot on your resume. What was the first one?
Oh, the first one is a movie that I'm actually the movie I'm in on YouTube, and it's also on Tubi TV, and it's called The Story Before the Glory. And that's the first one that got shown. I was in 2 other movies first that neither one came out, but I played a judge. And the reason how I got that, and I'll try to be brief, is I went to an audition. I was the last person to audition. It was like a local school. And I knew the guy who wrote the movie, and he was putting it on, producing it. So I went in there, and he wasn't there that night. So I was like nervous as can be. Went in there, and I was channeling Jack Nicholson for
Wow.
the Joker on this role because it's supposed to be
Whoa.
this evil business guy owner. And I was doing this like satanic type crazy laugh.
Oh, wow.
And they loved me, and I got this role, ended up getting the role for this other movie on top of that at the same time. So I got the business guy role, but then that role changed, and then I got this other role as a judge, and it was a crazy comedy, and it was funny as can be. But The Story Before the Glory I got was the first movie that came out that I finally got in, and I went in as an extra. There was like 25 of us, either prisoners or guards.
Okay.
And I got picked to be one of the 3 guards, and we were waiting around getting dressed. And first of all, the wardrobe was like 2 sizes too small. Squeezed in, first of all, and it was in a cold jail, about 50-something degrees,
Oh no.
down in South.
Oh, you guys
Georgia.
were actually in a jail.
We were actually in a jail, training jail.
So this is
even
not
the
a
real
stage
user.
prop makeup jail.
No,
This
it
is the
was
real
a
deal.
jail, but they
Deal.
weren't using it. It was more for a training
Right.
facility.
Gotcha.
And the girl comes up, I found an assistant director, hands me the phone and goes, "Oh, you got 3 lines. Here's the lines. You got a minute. Read over it, and we'll be back, and we'll shoot your scene."
Oh wow.
And I was like, "What?"
Well, you know, impromptu.
Yeah, and they ended up adding 2 more scenes for me that wasn't even in the script.
That's
Just
awesome.
after I did it, so it's kind of cool.
Well, I knew you would. You know, you have it. You got that covered.
So pretty much, so your first journey was acting.
Yes, absolutely. Now, acting I did in theater prior to that, going back about 8-9 years.
Okay, so
prior to film.
so we see behind the screen. So before that,
Yeah.
we were on stage.
Yes, I was on the stage.
So what got you on the stage? What led to that?
That's my
What
beginning.
got you on
So
stage?
I was in a church choir, and I was I'm
All
a
right, that's your
baritone.
Genesis story. All right, let's
Here's
get
my
it.
Genesis story. So
Let's
I was
do
in
it.
a church choir, and the choir director was involved in a local theater group.
Okay.
And a community theater group. So he kept telling me, "You got this great look, great sound. You should go out. They need guys."
Okay.
And it took me like 3 different times. I was about to go out, and finally I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go out for it." And I did, and I had to audition a song a cappella. I had to do a dance thing after they taught me a dance. They had a New York choreographer in there, believe it or not.
Word.
And she said I could do it, and then I read some lines. The next thing you know, I got put in the ensemble, and then I got bumped and got a role as the judge in that. It was a great comedy role. So, yeah,
So I love that. However, we are usually the ones to dig even further.
Let's do it.
We know that you got the start because somebody said, "Hey, you know, in the choir they heard you sing. We think you'd be great for this." Was this something you were thinking about prior to that? Was that your passion? What I mean, was that just the beginning? You being in choir and them saying, "Hey, we think you'll be a great fit for
Yeah.
this scene," or is it something that you were just like, I want to pursue singing or acting. I want the backstory.
Right. Okay. So no, acting, I never thought about it other than watching it, and I always thought that'd be great, but I never with. At the time, the Atlanta film industry wasn't really coming up, like until about 2012, 13. People were going to question me on that, but it's somewhere around 2013, 2014 is when it really started busting up. The film started coming here. So before that, I knew I was going to move to LA, and I wasn't thinking about doing that at the time. But I had started writing songs and singing in the backyard alone when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
And so that kind of started, and I had been writing songs, writing lyrics, all this stuff, but I never told anybody. Like even my parents didn't even know. I kept everything hidden because I was like, nobody's going to do this. And this is prior to the internet, prior to cell phones. And I always say that if the time was different, like it was like this back then, I think I would be much bigger star or bigger, higher up at that point. But back then you didn't have anything to go out. You couldn't go to the internet and find things and network as you can now.
Well,
So,
that's true.
yeah.
But you know what? I agree. However, I believe it seasoned you for where you are now. And even though, we didn't have the technology, that we have today,
Yeah.
You still have these songs that you wrote, and you could always, reference back to them and you could bring them out now and you could,
Right.
exactly, just make it bigger, just expound.
And that's what I'm doing. And that's the funny thing is the band has let me pull up some of my old songs I've never even got
see.
produced. And now we're revamping them. And I went into band rehearsal with a keyboardist, a guitarist. We have two other guitarists and a drummer, but there's only three of us at this rehearsal. And they said, just start singing one of your songs. I didn't even have all the lyrics down, just kind of half went with it. Next thing you know, they started jamming with it. And it was like, oh my God. It's like it's been there for 30 years in my head, hearing it and never heard it with a full band. And it was just like mind blowing. I got chills. It was the most incredible feeling.
Wow.
And just being in even band rehearsal, I can't even wait till we start gigging.
I'm going to throw some things out there. I think Jerome Dorn from In the House Media needs to hook you up with Aaron Burks out there at the Lake Pavilion in Griffin. For the country music.
All right, Jerome, you got the message. You got the message.
Country Music Festival.
So let's take a quick step back, all right? So we didn't have the internet, so you had a scavenger hunt,
Yeah.
right? You had a scavenger hunt. You had to figure out how to find these golden eggs, right?
Yeah.
So when you,
I like that.
right?
Well,
I mean, he had to
I
go
didn't
find these
really,
golden eggs, right? So, all right, you're in the choir. First of all, how old are you at this stage of your life?
53, about to be 54.
Really?
No, not today. When you started this journey, you were
Oh,
53.
14.
No, that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Not today. When you started this journey, you were 14, right?
When we first started writing songs, right?
Writing songs, right?
Yeah.
When you first got your first stage play and then you got that exposure, what
Yeah.
age was that?
38.
38.
Really? Wow.
I stopped there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, we want this microwave success,
Right.
right? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm only like 15, 16, I'm 17. I could get it done tomorrow.
Right.
38.
Yeah.
24 years.
It took quite a while to get there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you navigate through the
Great
system, or how did you navigate through something that you said it was not in your mind?
Mm-hmm.
You saw it, yeah, you appreciate it, but you were not aspiring to do this, right?
Not really.
So
not that part.
was it a family support? Was there a team behind you? Was it you saying, okay, well, this is how I got to go get this. This is how I've exposed. So give us a little rough draft of what that looked like, a little blueprint, a little visual, so people that might try to follow along the
Yeah.
path of how to get to your success.
Well,
How would we do so? So how did you even get the first stage play? How do we get there?
one word is God. I'm
I
gonna
like
tell
that
you,
word.
That answers a lot, and the reason why is just God puts it in my mind and just
Gotcha.
kind of guides me. I do have thoughts and feelings about when I need to do something.
Gotcha.
So he puts signs out for me. So when this happened, it just had this feeling. And I didn't even want to join the choir. And I had someone come up to me during one of the regular church services after I just started going there and tapped me and said, you need to come join us in the choir. It was like God sent a messenger through her to tell me to come to join the choir. So if it wasn't for her getting me to join the choir, I wouldn't even join that to meet him. It's like step by step by step. And so I took God's path, and it was kind of God's path has been kind of guiding me all the way through.
But
I
you
don't-
had,
yeah.
but you had to be willing.
His steps was ordered.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had to be willing because God can
Right.
send as much messages as He wants.
Oh yeah,
But there has to be a willing vessel.
yeah. You got to be willing, and you got to be open to it.
So how did you get exposed to your first audition?
That was it. Like I went there, and then I saw that there was auditions actually at my church in my choir room.
Okay.
It was my first audition was there, and so I went in there and I just went home and studied a song that I thought would be good, and just sang it a cappella and went in there, and they were like, okay. And then they said, we got a dance rehearsal. Go to another room, learn this dance, come back, do this, and then here's some lines from the scene, and we're gonna do some cold read from a script, and that's just taking a script for the first time, barely looking at it, and running lines with somebody. And so I did that, and and it worked. I mean, and they contacted me back, and I was on the list, and I got the role as ensemble at the first time you want to get in. Just that's fine. And then they had these other auditions, and they end up giving out different roles to people, and I got the judge. Yeah,
Awesome.
so.
Okay.
So as you saw that you got this exposure, people saw something in you that you probably didn't see in yourself, or
Right.
probably think, man, listen, I'm doing this, but I don't even know where this is going to
Yeah,
go, right?
absolutely.
What was your mindset throughout that transition as people started to believe in you, and probably in a way that you didn't believe in yourself? In addition to that, was there eventually a point where you had to say, I need to build an ecosystem around me, a team around me, to either get me where I'm going, or am I still an island today?
Well,
Am I
I
still
like
an
that.
am I still an
No,
island?
seriously, I
today?
like seriously
Hey,
because he hinted
Right?
when we were speaking
Exactly.
about that he was his own island.
I know.
With God.
with
Yeah.
God.
Because he said,
so that's why I want to
when he
know.
said family, he said, no,
Yeah.
That's why I have to know.
So
Yeah,
that's good. I
Right.
like
The
that
mindset I
ecosystem.
was in was more, first of all, just nerves. I mean, going in for the first time, you're not sure if you're good enough or whatever. And
To be
then
expected.
I got some of the women on the set, which I had to do some roles. I had to propose and all stuff. And I had all these women who were like, oh my God, you got great stage presence, and I like your voice and all this stuff. And just started getting a little confidence and little
Gotcha.
compliments. And I had not had that in my life. I usually, my family, and if they ever see this, they're not going, they're going, you shouldn't have said that. But they weren't really in the supportive in the way, because they were old school. They had this whole feeling like all you do is get a job and come home.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing anything outside of that, because it's too, especially entertainment, because they believe it's too risky,
Too risky.
to get into, and there's no security, job security or time with it. So they kind of pushed me away from that in a way. And so, but I kind of fought against it. And I was like, no, I felt like I was something different than just going. I did this for 20 something years, just went to a job, did some outside activities, get them bowling leagues, co-ed softball leagues and stuff. But it just wasn't fulfilling. I knew there was something else for me.
Right.
And that started it. And then I started doing the acting and started meeting all these people. And then if it wasn't for that guy who produced a movie and I took a chance. And I felt this feeling to go out and do it. And then they loved me. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy.
I know you don't want to get into it, but here's a challenging question. I'm that guy, man.
love
Michelle's gonna
challenges.
tell
I
you,
told
man.
you.
We
not
like
to-
I'm gonna get you
challenges.
deep in
This
there,
is
right?
great.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a challenging question. You hindered or mentioned that the family was not as supportive as you may have liked,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I can completely understand that. I mean, traditionally, in that time frame,
Everyone wants you
comedy,
to be a lawyer, doctor.
comedy, music, acting.
Yeah.
These are frowned upon. Let's be real. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a 1 in a billion, not even a million, 1 billion chance. We've seen so much people aspire to do these things, but the success rate is negative 0.1%.
Right.
Very true.
Right?
Yeah,
Let's be
right.
honest. If
Well-
you look at the homeless population in California, what do you think they went over there to try to do? I
Exactly.
mean, we have to be
Yeah.
honest with the realistic, right? So I can understand the hindrance of a parent to protect.
Yep.
But even as a parent myself, I can also understand the importance
To support.
to support my child's dream. and
Right.
future and aspiration. It's a fine line to navigate as a parent. I promise you, it is a very fine line.
Right.
Because one fragile move, you mess up. It's on you, your parent,
Yeah.
right? So, as a child in this stage of your life, how did that impact either the way that you viewed yourself, because they can, the way your parents view you and what you think you can do and they say no, can impact your self-esteem, right? How did that impact you, and did it create any rift between you and your family as you continue to pursue, and they said, well, you better go become an X, Y, and Z, but you're over here like,
Yeah.
I don't make it to 38, but I'm going to
Yeah.
continue to pursue.
Well-
What did that do for you?
Well, first of all, I don't want to let you think that they didn't support me at all.
Of course not.
So when I got into my theater and started doing, they'd come to my plays and shows.
Awesome.
That's
So I did
awesome.
music, and they enjoyed it. It's a great job and that kind of thing. They just didn't want me to pursue it as my career at that moment.
Gotcha.
Correct.
And so as I started getting bigger and bigger, got agents, and now I got two agents, one for voice also. And then I got into the more films and getting paid roles and stuff like that. Then they're like, oh, okay, what movie you got coming out, whatever. And then they just kind of like, oh, well, don't let it take up your time from your job, you know.
Right.
And you're going, okay, and you kind of,
Yeah.
it really pushes me even harder
Gotcha.
to go for the roles. And so when I want to like get to the point where I want to prove to them, but I want to prove to myself as well.
Yep.
So it's just kind of keep going after your dream, and that's something I want to put out to everybody out there. No matter how crazy it sounds, as long as it's legal,
Yep.
then go for it. And I did it when I was later in life, 38, I got into music. I just released my first single 4 years ago. And that was I was 49, 50 years old 4 years ago when I released my first song. And now I've got 30 singles out, 2 albums, and now in a
Kudos.
band. And again, part God, part just finding and pushing and going for things. And then also having no fear at this point. It took me a while to get that
Consistency,
confidence.
consistency.
So it was just keep going and going. And then I got a nomination in one of my theater roles that I played, a King Sextimus. I was a mute king. And I did an entire musical mute.
Wow.
And
Wow,
I had
that's
to
crazy.
play out a role. One of the funny scenes, we had audience laugh. It was a comedy. So I had to tell my son, who was the prince, about the boys and about the bees and the birds and
Birds
bees,
and the bees, yeah.
without speaking.
Word.
With a song.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I had to use antics and all kinds of symbols and
Oh, wow.
kind of
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
And
I want to see that one.
it
Yeah,
was,
that-
and I started doing
sounds
some
comical.
dirty. I got to the dirty. I improvised.
You got to do what you got to do to get the message across.
People online, people on the radio can't see this, but they're like, do it like that.
Right.
And I had the audience just in tears, laughing their head off. And so it was it was a real fun time. And then from there, I only got done a couple more comedies since then. I've done 2 or 3, about one coming out. I'll tell you about. So there's so much more to tell you.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of like piggyback and go back a little bit.
All right.
Because you guys made some valid points through the support system and the mindset. And we know that it's important, as he mentioned, to support your children. You know, no matter how old they are, no matter what their dreams are. We may not fully agree with what they envision for themselves. However, what I've learned and experienced is that we have to give that support, because if we push someone or our children to venture on a path that's not their goal or their ideal road to travel, the journey is truthfully not theirs.
Right.
It's yours.
Right.
Yep.
And then they're going to be unhappy,
Right.
Yep.
you know, pursuing your dreams.
Right.
Yep.
So we need to encourage our children to pursue what it is that they want to pursue, because in the end, they're going to be fully committed.
Yep.
And you never know. Just like, you know, you prove to your parents, hey, you know, and even though you said you still want to show them, you've done a lot. You know, you've shown them that, hey, you can get compensated for your roles. You know, it's something that's very viable. You know, it's sustainable. It just takes work and determination, just like a regular 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's just that the mindset is different, you know, coming from the older folks and even the Islanders, because we're both Islanders. And it's the mindset. You want your child to become a lawyer, doctor, things that everybody knows, right? And then things like sports and
Frown
anything
upon.
in the media or
Yeah.
the movies, whatever. They're just like, it's fly by night. But if that's your dream, continue to pursue it. And I love that you said that you put God first, because with God,
All
every
things
and
are
anything
possible.
is possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
keep that, stay focused, and it doesn't matter your age. Like, I've seen some amazing people. For example, look at Aunt Linda doing some incredible things. And you're one of those that, I'm going to give you all the accolades, give you all your flowers, because it's overdue and it's well deserved.
Oh,
So
thank you.
kudos to you.
Appreciate
Continue
it.
doing what you're supposed to do. I admire you because you're very determined and you're always so excited to share your journey. And when I hear your songs and when I see you posting your roles, I'm just like, look at Brother Gary go. So it does a lot, and you never know who you're inspiring to take that step.
Right, right.
So continue.
Yeah, and that's some things I always question. Like, am I posting too much? I'm putting this
Nope.
out here, and because some people, you start worried about, oh, those people think you're something else, or you think you're whoever.
It's just
And then
about
I'm
you and
like,
God.
no, it is about me and God, and also, like you said, about inspiring. But also, it helps with, especially as an actor, you put those roles out. And I taught some people, and I helped them. They were actors that had just get started. One of the things is get your headshots out there, and when you get a role, post about that role, put pictures up so they can see you
Absolutely.
and see that you're growing. And my word verbiage is not good, right? But
That's
it's like
all right.
you're growing and you're pushing yourself and you're posting these things, and they know that you want this. People who don't ever post and do anything, don't put their picture out, whatever, they don't have that drive that you do. And so I think producers, directors, writers see that. And I have people hit me up all the time. I mean, they did it more later this year. I'm not getting as much. They'll hit me up, never heard of them. Somebody referred them to me and wanted me for a role, and I'm supposed to have had a phone call with another guy. But I've been hit up so many different times by directors. I've turned down many roles because I'll say, "Does it pay?" And then they go, well, no, will we give? Like, no, I've done this enough. I got agents. I'm
Exactly.
not going to do a free role that may or may not come out. I'm done with that. I have so many movies,
And you have that right.
and right, and so I turned down. So I'm like, I'm not feeling big of myself. I'm really not, but I know it comes off
You
that
know
way.
your worth.
Yeah, I know my worth.
Exactly.
So I hope people see that as well, and that I'm not arrogant. Oh, he can't do a role. No, I have other things I'm doing that's making money. Oh, he's playing my.
So who's that am I listening to right now?
That's my song, my big black truck.
Your big black
My
truck,
big
huh?
black truck.
Look, he's playing his big black truck.
All right, we're gonna take a moment right now to take a quick break. So we're listening to right now, Mr. Garrett Forge, my big black truck. We'll be back in just a second. All right, everybody, we are back.
Yes, we are.
Listen, we're having a special conversation right now with our special guest, Mr.
Gary Ford.
So listen, we just, if you guys didn't catch that song right quick, make sure you guys check him out on all platforms. He is a recording artist, country recording artist. And he has music on Spotify,
Apple,
iTunes, SoundCloud.
like 18
You name it,
different-
we'll find you.
Yeah,
You'll find.
sir.
He's a busy boy. Before we went on the commercial break, I think you and Michelle had a phenomenal dialogue back and forth. It was a PSA to the parents.
Yes.
It was a PSA. And the PSA went like this. Here's the recap. Stop living your dreams to your children. All right? If you ain't do it, that's your problem. You should have did it when your parent told you, but you didn't do it. So stop living your dreams through your children. Allow them, allow them to have their own dream. You want to be a doctor, you ain't do it. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Now you picking up dishes. That's your fault. You ain't listening to your parents, but you want your kids to listen to you. So that was just a quick PSA. Be more supportive of your kids' dream. Figure out what do they want to do. Right? I'm just saying. Figure out what they want to do. Because in my days, I never heard of coding. Did you hear of coding growing up? I know it was not a word I never heard of. I never heard of astronaut as a kid. I never heard of state representative as a kid. I never heard of stem cells. I never heard of front end, back end for computer software. Right? I never heard of these things. But these kids are exposed to these things. But what I did hear is teacher, engineer, doctor, lawyer, nurse. Huh?
Didn't hear a lot about gaming either.
Yeah, I never heard about that either.
Yeah.
So parents, it's a new world with technology in it.
Get used to it.
Get used to it.
Jump on the pad.
So, and I think that was a very crucial moment, right? Because it's not that parents don't want the best for their children. However, sometimes we may not have the best recipe, the best formula. And sometimes we need a little, you keep throwing the word God. So I'll throw this word out to align with it. We need a little bit more faith in the kids.
Yep.
We need a little bit more faith in their ability because they're exposed to more than we're exposed to. A lot more. And you probably were exposed to a lot more stuff than your parents were exposed to when you were a young man.
Right.
So you could see things from a peripheral that your parents probably didn't have the privilege of being able to see it through. Probably they had to work real hard to put food on the table for you.
Yeah.
They didn't have the luxury of saying somebody, boy, you got talent.
Yeah.
No, they say go to work.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes I think we take for granted some of the things that our kids are exposed to in today's society that we didn't have. And this is why I say it's a very fine balance when parenting between supporting a child's dream that makes a little sense at least, and not crushing it, but still giving a little bit of direction, right?
Absolutely.
So, we noticed that you started, you had the musical career, but your break started in theater and then movies and then acting. And then you talked about way later, you went back to your first passion.
Right.
At 48.
Yeah.
Am I getting it right? It started at 14.
Yep.
I'm listening to the numbers. I'm just trying to keep
You're
up, right?
You're right.
All right. So your first passion was not your first breakthrough.
Right.
And I want people to understand that.
Yeah.
You better come over.
You caught that, right?
I feel the word coming.
I feel like a little Emma, a kid going on right now, right? Try to get me a little going on, right?
Feel the word. Feel
Right,
the
but your first passion was not your first breakthrough.
Right.
Exactly.
And sometimes we fall in love with something, but sometimes we got to put it on a shelf and try what works.
Right.
That doesn't mean they won't come to fruition, but sometimes we have to know there's a season for everything,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
There's a season,
Yes.
right? So your first passion was music, but your breakthrough that got your name out there and got you going was the acting. But you didn't give up on your dream.
Right. Right.
You said, listen, I like this thing. Now they got a little name. Maybe it might work now.
Yeah.
And then you went back at it at 48 and then you got this music going.
Right.
Tell me, how did you balance that and how was that transition back into music?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you a reason what
Let's
pushed
do it.
me was, and it's sad, but my dad had passed away. He had Alzheimer's disease, and when he always the one that's in my family, he would always say, "Garrett, you need to pick up a guitar. You need to start playing guitar, start learning." And he said, "Why aren't you doing that?" And all of a sudden, he goes, I want to see you on film. I want to see you on your big screen one day.
Ah, that's
And he
awesome.
kept saying that. And it's kind of stayed in my head. And then I kept going, well, I'm trying. I'm going out these roles and I'm getting auditions for major roles, theater stuff, and just haven't booked those yet. It's like the acting field, it is very competitive. And you've got to be that right person at the right time with the right look to get these things. But you never know who that one audition will get you. Plus, people don't realize, and we talk about it, is when you get an audition, you've already won already. Because you've already been broken down from like 1,000 people initially submitting for it to like maybe 100 or several hundred auditioning, and then somebody getting a second role or second in-person callback or whatever. Well, I never got a callback per se, but to get an audition, I've got it down to like 40 something people audition for a role. And one of the movies, I had a director it's a movie coming out, and it's a crazy title. It's called Three Blacks and a Jew Walk Into a Bar. And it's a coming of age story.
You heard my
It's a-
light skinned brother. You heard him.
love
It's
it.
hilarious. I play a Southern cop in Georgia. It kind of just fits right
Uh-huh.
there. And I had some really funny funny lines in it. But the director told me when we were going from set to set, he said that he had 70 something people audition for that role, and I got it.
Wow.
And it was a great feeling that the director, he's like, yeah, I love you. Just did this just right. Exactly the look I'm looking for. And then when I did it, I had him in tears crying so much on this scene that we did. He comes running to me. I just did my take, and he comes running to me. Do you see this? Do you see this? These are real tears. These are real tears. I'm like, he goes, how'd you take so straight? How'd you take so? And he was like that. He was the Jewish guy. He was the writer, the lead, the producer, the direct. I mean, he didn't direct it, but yeah, he was the one that kind of gave me that. And he's like, you're going to blow up from this. When this comes out, you're going to be really seen. And I was like waiting, and it hadn't come out yet. They had one premiere somewhere I couldn't make it to, and but I'm waiting for this to be premiere in Atlanta, in Miami, New York, and some other places.
That's awesome.
But if I probably got misdirected on your
That's all right.
your question, where did I need to?
What led you back?
What led me back?
You
Well,
know, into the music after from 14 to 48.
Well, the odd thing is I did modeling too, by the way. I did modeling for a few years with this
Okay.
group. And there was this lady in my modeling group. It was like a co-ed type modeling group for 50 and older. And so they have this group out there. And they'll say it's a modeling agency, but, they do a few things. So this one lady was at a restaurant. I went to a premiere, came back, we were all meeting, and I started talking to her if she knew anybody who does any music, sound engineers. And she kind of told me. She got on the contacted someone through a text and gave me a number and told me to check out them. And I had
Working.
Yep.
yeah. Well, this is my big black truck, by the way. So the sound engineer was a guy who works with, I think, the Gap Band, Cameo. He does their sound from the 80s.
Oh.
And he was the one, I went to his condo in his den, is west where I recorded my big black truck.
Wow.
And I had the track, because I learned how to produce music, by the way. So I'm a music producer as well.
Gotcha.
So I learned how to produce music and layer, because I used to run sound on top of that at theater. I ran sound and did sound design for shows and add music tracks, sound effects. I learned all that. And so I already had a little bit of that. And I got the software. A friend hooked me up. I got a studio in my house. So I started playing around, learning how to produce, watching videos. And that's where most of my songs have been produced in my studio. That I self-produced most of them.
That's awesome. Man.
Yeah, and so they had a track, and he had just added a drum beat, and then he had me to sing, but then he'd come back, he goes, can you sing an octave up? And so I want to do that on the hook, and so I did a higher, and then I had my lower range, and he blended them and had the two tracks. And so when you hear the driving down the road with that's me singing twice, me singing low and me singing high. And he plays that out for the hook. And all he did was copy that and pasted it through the track. So I only sang it like one time. And then
That's
he
awesome.
just pasted that. And then the verses were just done separately.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See? So, persistence,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
motivation,
Mm-hmm.
because the person that he auditioned for
Mm-hmm.
felt so empowered by his scene that it brought him to tears.
Yep.
And that pushed him to even go further, where he ended up in somebody's home to record.
Prior to that, he was an underwear model.
No,
I mean,
not underwear model.
No? Oh.
No, they doing
That was
underwear
his
model.
model. It was under model. I just model. Okay.
You know,
And then
we
the
had
underwear
to- we
model.
had to
Okay, you have
judge.
to.
We
It's
had
okay.
to
And
judge
then the
No,
it.
you're
underwear
cool.
model got him to the singing again. That's what I heard.
That-
I don't think anybody wants to see me in
That's what I
underwear.
heard. I'm just
Had to have a
saying.
little laughter.
Yeah, you got to.
Right.
Always.
But that's good though, man. So once you started embarking back on this music journey, I'm sure it's your acting career has taken off at this stage, and you're pretty busy. How do you balance the two? How do you make time? Because it's like okay,
And work.
And work a
Oh, yeah,
full-time
and
He's
job.
work.
flying out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he's leaving to Texas.
I'm an SBA loan underwriter for a national bank out of Las Vegas. I work remote.
and people are talking about they're busy. They're not busy. You're busy.
I do. Yeah, I do like
and
45,
he's
50
flying
hours.
out tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Flying out of Dallas.
That's why I'm flying out to Dallas tomorrow for work conference. Coming back Friday.
So how do you balance
Exactly.
Well,
everything you do, and how come your job hasn't fired you yet for asking for so many days off?
no.
Right?
Right?
Well,
Like, that's
Put
crazy.
me on your payroll.
Yeah, put me on your payroll
so
too
people
while you're at
don't
it.
understand independent film, especially Atlanta, film on the weekends and at nights. And it's majority
Oh,
weekends.
I got you.
So, and then you learn lines. I usually don't have a major role in them. I have a co-lead role coming out. I did
Gotcha.
shoot a movie that we shot over a whole 6-month period. I was lead. That movie never came out. Long story with that one. That's another whole show by itself. But yeah, it's just like weekend work, and you'll get a script. You may have to audition a one time on a weekend, or you might. I usually don't even have to audition. The last 5, 6, 7, even probably 10 roles, people just hit me up. I say, I got a role for you, or I see you in this. Or
You build up
whatever.
your resume, of
Yeah,
course.
build up
yeah.
my resume, and so I get contact people, refer them to me.
That's
and
great.
Yeah, and then I just show up one day, and here's a wardrobe person, or bring this suit or whatever. Learn your lines.
Take notes, kids.
Yeah, and it's not hard. It really isn't.
I got
mean,
a couple of
took-
suits. Hold on.
Well, you got to do more
I got
than just
suits.
wear suits to be.
You know you have
No,
suits.
there was classes. There was a lot.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
I had to, get to the point where I had to learn how to act.
I have the
on
Jewish ball
camera.
spot. Does that help?
You could be background.
Crap. I mean, I'm gonna get it
No,
somehow.
no. If you could, I mean,
I'm gonna
some
try.
people with natural gift. I mean,
Gotcha.
You have
but-
the Jewish.
I do have
but-
the Jewish boss. Somebody
what-
hit me right across the head right here, and it's bald now.
where's he going with this, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know.
I'm just trying to get all the
He's
blessings.
directed.
I'm just trying to get all the blessings. But I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I did 23 stage shows, musicals, plays, all kinds,
Wow.
dramas. So over the time, I learned to be character, and I became
Wow.
a character actor because I played a lot of these
Different characters.
different characters, mean characters. I had to sing in the middle of the interview, and so I learned all kinds of things in acting, and I had great directors that taught me stuff and doing this. And again, theater and film are completely different because theater is more full body out all this you got to
Gotcha.
and overact. It's more overacting in theater, and then when you come into TV film, it's right here. It's your eyes, and you don't even. It's not that you don't want to move, because they do want movement as you need to, but you're not acting with your whole body. You're acting right
Yeah,
here.
because with acting on a stage, 100% of the time somebody's seeing every part of you.
Yeah,
Where behind the lens, we can cut, we can edit,
Right.
headshot, body shot, full action shot, right?
right. And you're doing sometimes 10, 12, 15, 20 takes on the same scene.
Scene, wow.
And you might do 6 or 7 takes just with the camera on you and the person over their shoulder.
Wow.
And you're repeating it. And you're doing that again and doing
Wow.
it again, doing it, and you know it. And then they're doing your shoulder to them. And then they're doing one of the whole thing. So you're doing it probably 6 or 7 each. You start adding that up. And that's what takes forever on the major motion pictures, because they have a lot of lighting, a lot of crew. And so like that one of the films I did first when I was a judge, and we were actually in a full courtroom. I was behind on the judge's bench.
Gotcha.
And they were the first one that really made me feel like I was this actor talent, because they called me talent. And then
Gotcha.
we had a makeup person. And then during the set or during the scene, the director behind the glass, he went, "Cut! Y'all need to get Garrett some makeup. Light his makeup. He's sweating too much. Bring him a bottle of water." It was like that. And it had 20 something people, crew, like 18 different crew members.
So you had the
extras,
full experience.
yeah, actors
That's a
playing
full
lawyers,
experience,
defendants,
yeah.
the whole thing. And I was the judge, and I had most of the lines in that scene. And so I had to like direct. They were basing off me. I had the first line, so everybody else knew to direct, act off of me and when I need to come in. And only one of those takes, I went blank. We did, I'll say 20 takes.
Wow.
And like take 14, I just blanked out.
Oh no.
And then the script supervisor who carries the script and calls out your lines comes running over to me after 13 takes. Do you know your lines? Are you not in this? I was like, yes, I know my lines. Like,
Yeah, you had a
He's
blank
like,
moment.
listen,
Yeah, I had a blank
moment,
moment.
okay.
Yeah.
my mind went elsewhere, and I
It's
went blank.
overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like they were like, okay, cut. Okay, everybody, let's take a minute and then get ready. All right, Garrett, are you ready? You know, it was that kind of thing. And everybody's like, and they let's shift the lights here. And it's just like, it was really cool. I really learned a lot how much work it takes just to do a scene. It can
Wow.
take hours, like hour or two.
And see, and these are the things that, you know, the viewers need to understand that everything that you do, it requires a certain amount of commitment,
Yep.
determination, and it takes hard work.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. You're going to have
Yeah.
a moment when you blank out.
Yeah.
I believe every one of our media brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles we've spoken to, they've all had those blur moments like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what's going
What's
on
going
here?
on?
But bringing it back, I see the excitement.
Yeah.
You get very happy talking about it.
Very
Right.
animated.
So, when we talked about your origin, where it first started, it was a little, you know, I really didn't aspire to be an actor
Yeah.
or a singer.
Yeah.
But then now you're in this place at this age and you're so excited about it.
Right.
Tell us what you would say to your 14-year-old self.
Ooh, I think don't give up and go for it. Just go for it, and things are going to work out for you if you work hard. That's a lot of things that people don't understand. It's not given to you. I didn't have anything given to me. I would say middle class, but we grew up in a little small little house. I had to share a bedroom. We had one bathroom that split between like four of us,
Okay.
a master and shower and all that kind of stuff. And I worked. I started my job working like 15, 16 years old and been having jobs. And I would even come home from college. I did go to college. My mom did pay for it. So I was lucky in that sense. But she says, as long as I'm paying, you're going to work.
Yep.
And she made that part of it. So I would come home from college and have to work at a retail store all weekend and then drive back 3 hours Sunday night, get back, do homework, whatever. But then I was very involved in college too. So I became like top pledge for my fraternity. It was a business fraternity. I ended up being top member. I got involved. I became an officer in that. So I kind of always been that way, just always going, always doing for something. And I think that's kind of reached out to where I'm at now, is seeing there's so many opportunities and just going for it. Because I keep saying is life is short. You do not know when that last day is.
I love that.
And so that's where you wake up every day, and I need to do better about it, and just thanking God. Thank you. And they say, don't ask him, just thank him for the blessing of waking up, and always thank him for something you don't already have. That's a little trick I learned, is thank him. Say you want to have a lot of money and a great job. Thank you, God, for that great, all that money I'm getting and the great job. And again, you don't pray for money, but you thank him for stuff that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
And they said it can work through your brain. It's a lot of it's psychological too.
Very true.
Yeah, and people don't realize that put that negative spin. Oh, you can't do that. You change that. Yes, I can do that, and this is how I'm going to do that.
Take that T off.
So
turn that T into
it's
an I.
it's about changing that negative spin to positive and saying positive. Yeah, I have my moments. Yeah, I think we all do. But then I'll sit there and go back. What am I doing? Like, no, you can go out for this. You can send that song in. And I feel like some crazy stuff. I sent my song to marketing things, and I got paid like $50 or whatever. Now,
You never know until you do it.
Yeah, I have like 7,000 streams of just one song in 2 weeks.
And that's awesome.
And it's, one of my top songs right now.
You have to stay consistent.
Yeah.
And that's the key. And I like that you pointed on that.
Mm-hmm.
And just telling people just keep going, because you never know. Even though you're thinking to yourself, oh, it sounds crazy, somebody else may not like it. Everything is not for everyone.
Right.
You know, and that's what people have to understand. You know, that's a reason why there's different genres, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
So, there's a lane for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's the thing. Everybody needs to understand that there's a lane for everyone. There's so much out there on the table. Just go after it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. In music, if you're a music artist, you can write, you think of lyrics, or you have a melody or something comes in your head. That's a song, and there's so many different genres. The most unique people. I don't know what's. Do you want to close it? Oh, so the more unique you are, the better you're going to be because you're going to stand out among the crowd. So if you think your songs are different, they're weird, or you have some weird idea of how they're going to go, it's probably going to be good. You may have to tweak it. Somebody can work with you. A producer will work with you, tweak it. And they're out there everywhere, by the way. And this is something I brought up, is go to YouTube. YouTube tells you anything and everything. You can
true.
learn.
YouTube
it's
University.
Free. There's
It's
YouTube
so
University for anything out there you want. It don't have to be entertainment. It could be technology. It could be learning a skill that you can just do on the side. And I brought this up in another interview. Take 30 minutes out of your day. You've got 30 minutes or an hour. Work on that. Shut everything out. Put your kids off for a break. Go to your special place, quiet, and go to YouTube University or learn something, and then make a goal of where you're going to be in a year, 5 years, or even a couple months from now, and work toward it every day. Put 30 minutes, an hour toward it every day, and you will be good at it. And that all the people are out there to help you on YouTube and everywhere else. So
They
Great
said,
advice.
yeah,
they said the person that puts in 100 hours, just only 100 hours a
Yeah.
year, is a master at a craft compared to everybody else. Only
Yeah.
100 hours.
yeah, absolutely.
That shows you how little effort we put into what we say we want to do.
It's
Right.
so true. But he dropped a lot of knowledge. We talked about YouTube University, talked about persistence, talked about dedication. I think it's a great wrap. I want you now, because of everything that you are committed to and everything that you offer, because you can help others engineering wise. You have your own studio, you do a lot, voiceover. You can help people hone their own craft. So I want you to tell the audience where they could find Garrett Forge, how they could follow you, contact you, so that they could get the help that they need, or just call you up and say, hey, I would love to come to your studio and get some recording help.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my name of my business is called Forge Ahead AV Studios, and there's a phone number, and it's a Google number, so it'll go to voicemail, but it'll leave me a text, 770-942-9888. So it's 770-942-788. I'm sorry, 9888. Let me repeat it again. 770-942-9888. But there's forgeaheadavstudios.com. That's everything with voiceover training. I do actor reels, voiceover reels, songwriting, music production, sound editing.
Wow.
All that's done with my business. And ADR. I've done some ADR for some films. One girl, drawing a blank on her name. I know her. Anyway, I did some sound editing for her movie called The Bird Watcher, and it's already won an award. But I just did I did a telephone sound of the voice. I changed the voiceover just with software, and she used that for her movie. And then I did some ADR for an actor. Came out of India and California. He had some films that I did some ADR for. He came over, and I did that. They liked it. But also, Garrett Forge, Garrett Forge, Forge on Facebook. I'm Garrett Forge Music, actor Garrett Forge on Instagram, TikTok, which I barely use, but it's Garrett Forge on TikTok. And yeah, I put videos out there. I do all kinds of little things. I do play around with the Instagram little video stuff, and I'll just put some clips from my music. When I got roles and stuff coming out, I'll show my actor reels out there on Instagram. All that. I'm trying to think. GarrettForge.com is also where my actor, my voiceover, my modeling picture, my headshots, my resume. So a lot of my clips are all on GarrettForge.com, my website.
Awesome.
So I got two websites. So
Real quick, before we run out, 30 seconds. What's coming out and what people should be expecting from you in the next 6 months?
Shooting a film, one more scene, Cold, coming out. It's a faith-based film. I got a movie, Three Blacks and a Jew Walk into a Bar. I got a series, Beautiful Scars Behind the Closed Doors. I got songs. I just released my new song, my number one. It's a Christian contemporary country song. If you love God, it's a blessing. It's like a prayer to God.
Awesome.
And albums out. I got most recent album, Waves Against the Shore, came out 2022. 12 singles. So
Awesome. So listen, you guys heard it here first on Ikonic Konvo. Here, we're here each and every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. every first and third Monday, right? And it's still Gemini season. It's still Gemini season. Happy early birthday again, young man. Thank you so much for allowing us your time and your presence. We know the moment you leave here, you got to go get prepped, get your behind on the plane, and you out of here. You're a busy, busy young man. So you're listening to Iconic Konvo with
Diamond
and Dijon Talks, and we appreciate you. And I think that's you
My
playing in the
number one.
background.
That's my
You're
number
number
one.
one. All right, guys. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time.